Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to film my TBR check-in and book haul for the month of April. So let's get into it. April was a great reading month for me, and I did bring in some books, but I wasn't excessive about it, considering the fact that I was on vacation for the first week of April. I think I did pretty well, although I was on a cruise ship, and there isn't a lot of opportunities to purchase books when you're on a cruise ship. So I did pick up a few. And so let's just get into what the stats say first before we get into the book haul. So let's look at my handy chart here. This is my TBR balance sheet. For the month of April, I read 13 books in total. 5 of them were off my shelf. 5 were brought into the house. And I did have 1 DNF to talk about. And so that left me with a -1 for the month. So I'm back down to 105. So not humongous progress, but I do feel pretty good about where I got in the month of April. So before we get into the books that I brought into the home in the book haul portion of this video, let's talk about my 1 DNF. And sadly, it is this big chunker that I started in March for March of the Mammoths. This is Working by Studs Terkel. This is an oral history. People talk about what they do all day and how they feel about what they do. This is a book that I think was originally published in the 70s. Was it earlier than that? Yeah, the first published in 1972. And it had been recommended to me because I do tend to like oral histories. I really like Svetlana Alexievich's oral histories, and I've read some other oral histories that I've really enjoyed, and I just could not get into this one. And I was persevering, and because I purchased this book brand new, and I thought, I'm going to keep trying, and then I thought, why? Why am I beating my head against this book when I'm not enjoying it? So I've just decided to DNF it, and I feel badly about it. I think it is a classic of the genre, but it just was not working for me. Pun not intended. So I'm just going to let it go, and I'm going to move on because I feel like I need to be better about letting go of books that are not working for me and not forcing myself to finish it. Because if I forced myself through this one, it would take me months and I would not get read the books that I really want to read this year. So I'm going to let this one go. So that was my 1 DNF. So let's talk about the new books that I brought in the month of April. So the first thing is this Penguin Classic. This is a short account of the destruction of the Indies by Bartolome de la Casas. And I bought this one in, I was in Puerto Rico, in San Juan at the, what is the name of this place? It is a historic site. It is one of the forts that are there in San Juan, and I can't remember the name of it. I have this Castillo San Felipe del Moro, and I apologize for my horrendous non-existent Spanish accent. So that's what that historic site looks like. It's this ancient fort that is out on the end of this peninsula. And it's a national historic site, and we walked to it when we were in the port of San Juan on our cruise, and they have a nice bookstore, gift shop type place in there as well. And I'm always interested in learning more about the history of the Caribbean. So when I saw this little Penguin Classic, I thought, yes, that's exactly what I want to purchase when I'm on vacation, and sort of as a memento, but also as a book that I'm really interested in reading. So I'm very glad that I found that one. And then in the airport on the way home, I had time to do a quick browse, and I picked up Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. I am already almost finished this book. I am buddy reading it with Sean the Book Maniac. This is Tommy Orange's latest piece of literature. I loved They're There by Tommy Orange when I read it, when it came out, whatever year that was. So I was very much interested to pick up his sophomore novel. And like I said, I'm already in the middle of it. So love this cover, by the way. I don't very often buy hardcover anything, brand new hardcovers of anything, but I knew that this was one that I wanted to have on my shelves. So I was really pleased to see this one in the airport bookstore, and yeah, I'm glad to have found that one to have. So then I got home, and in the mail, I found this book, Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond, which I have already read, but this was a gift from the publisher. So this is published by Crown, and they had reached out to me and asked me if I would like the paperback edition, which just has recently released. I read this book as an ebook when it first came out. I loved Matthew Desmond's first book, Evicted, and this one's very good as well. This is just what it says on the cover. It is all about poverty in America. It goes into poverty from multiple different perspectives, from housing, food, education, all basically social aspects of poverty, homelessness. And yeah, it was very powerful. And now I'm so pleased to have my own copy of it so I can have it on the shelves, and when I reread it, I can annotate it, I can underline, I can write in it, all of that stuff, and I'm very excited to do a reread of this one. So this one doesn't actually count in my total for my TBR because I have already read it, but I am very thankful to Crown for gifting me this book, which I think is a fabulous book, and you should all read it if you have not read it. It is quite short, I think, because it's got a bunch of notes in the back. So the actual text of this, it is only 189 pages. So Shorty September, folks, if you're looking for nonfiction for Shorty September, this is an excellent, excellent pick right here. Then I ordered from Paperback Swap a used copy of Traitor to Memory by Elizabeth George. This is the next book in the Detective Lindley mystery series that I need to read. I am currently working my way through this series with Britta Bowler, and these are mysteries that take place like from the late 90s. The series started like mid 90s, and as it sort of goes advances through time as the books are published, it's about Detective Lindley, who is an English detective, and his partner Barbara Havers, and each book they solve a new mystery, and it's about their relationship, and there's a broader cast of characters that are friends of our two main characters, or neighbors, or parents, or whatever. And I really love the series. I love the mysteries. They're very complex. They very much, they're really great at showing how humanity is not just black or white, that everybody is shades of gray. Nobody is purely good or purely evil. It is, there is a lot of complexity to each and every person. And her mysteries always sort of go into that. Also, her mysteries tend to discuss a lot about family relationships, whether that's parent to child, or spousal, or whatever. And I really appreciate that about this series as well. So this is the next one I need to read. So that's why I picked up that copy. I then purchased a book that I will be reading starting in May. I will not finish it in May, but I will be starting it in May, so it counts for Mental Health May. And this is Committed on Meaning and Mad Women, a Memoir by Suzanne Scanlon. And this is a book I will be buddy reading with Sean the Book Maniac at the end of the month. And this is about Susan Scanlon's experience about being a student in the 90s and dealing with grief, and ending up having some mental health issues, and ending up in a psychiatric institute, and what that was like. And it's not just about her experience, but about the experience of women in mental health institutions in general, the history of that, cultural issues, all that kind of stuff. So I am really interested to read this. I've read several things now that have to do with institutionalization and women. Earlier this year, I read The Woman They Could Not Silence with some buddy readers, and that was about women being committed back in the 1800s, when your husband could just commit you for whatever reason he could come up with. And so I think that history is really interesting and fascinating in terms of its overlap with women's rights and things like that. So I'm very fascinated to find out what this book is going to be like. So hopefully I will be reporting back to you soon with my thoughts on that as I start it in the month of May. And then last but not least, another book from the publisher. This is also from Crown. They sent me The Year of Living Constitutionally, One Man's Humble Quest to Follow the Constitution's Original Meaning by A.J. Jacobs. This is A.J. Jacobs' thing that he does, right? Like he picks a topic and then he does that thing, whatever it is, for a year. Like he did The Year of Living Biblically, which I read and enjoyed. And then he did one about reading the entire encyclopedia, which was the first book of his that I read, and I really liked that one. So he writes with humor, but also shows like how the context of things changes through time, and how ridiculous certain things can be as well when you take them to their literal meaning. So I am really interested to see what this one's all about. The little blurb talks about him donning a tricorn hat and marching around Manhattan with a 1700s musket in Manhattan, what people thought of that. So yeah, I think this one will be quite interesting, particularly with all the conversation in American politics these days about what the Constitution does and does not mean about different topics. So I am quite interested to pick this one up. So I'm hoping to get to this one quite soon as well. So thank you again to Crown for sending me this one to read and talk about. So that's it. Those are the books that I brought into my home in the month of April. I'm feeling pretty good about how it's going. I haven't been making like huge changes in the overall number of the TBR, but then again, I'm not going in a negative direction either. I'm sort of maintaining. I'm still lower than I was when I started in January. I started at 111 and I'm at 105. So, like not a big change, but I'm like keeping it below where I started. So that's good. I mean, obviously I would like to get it below 100 just to like show that I can. But I am also like realizing, like, particularly when I'm reading for the BookTube prize, a lot of books I have to get from the library. And I don't just want to be buying all those books, for budgetary purposes, but also for TBR number purposes. So when a lot of my reading is made up of library books or audiobooks that I get from Scribd or on my online library, like that's obviously books that I can't pick up physically from my TBR and read. So I'm trying to balance all of that, but I think it's going pretty well. I'm feeling pretty good about it here. We aren't quite halfway through the year, but we're getting there. So yeah, that's where we're at the end of April. I hope you're all doing well and finding some great books to read. I'll talk to you later.